Hello and welcome everyone to WrestleLine, and yes, it's that time of the year again. You can probably hear the traditional music for those fans that are a little bit older would remember this, the 91-92 theme for the Royal Rumble, where Vince would go through every single wrestler that was going to enter, and if he made a big deal of your name, you were probably going to win it, i.e. Hulk Hogan. Most years. Of course, joining me as always for this preview, my co-host Matt Essex. Let's welcome him in now with this amazing tune in the background. I'm sure it's getting him revved up. If it can get you revved up. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good, thanks. And it's definitely a blast from the past, that music. Bringing back all the nostalgia. Let's hope the Royal Rumble this year actually has some essence of that past history and that kind of feel where it was an exciting time. So, I'm looking forward to it myself. So I can't wait.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if they did that again? Start giving the rundown of every single wrestler. You'd have to go through 60 now, though, with both female and male. I don't know how he'd get through all that, whether his voice would last the way he used to sort of do it. That it's time to rumble. It's time for the Royal Rumble. It's just absolute craziness at the beginning of those. But yeah, let's get in then, people, because this is our preview, and I want to welcome everyone here. We are live tonight, so if you do want to get in touch with the show and you're listening live, feel free, wrestleline@gmail.com. I know some of you have already been waiting for this to go out live because I put out a link to everyone that was subscribed through SoundCloud. So we've had a little bit of a short list already, Matt, so people definitely enthusiastic for the Royal Rumble that takes place tomorrow night, Sunday, from Chase Stadium. And a little bit of news about that, really, Matt. I thought we'd touch with that because somebody actually, want to thank one of our emailers, DX1, sent me a nice kind of plan out of the seating arrangements, which I thought was quite unique. I also sent that on to Matt, and of course this is a typical layout, of course, for a baseball stadium, and it should give, if anything, Matt, quite a unique look. Like, I mean, for instance, Matt, in the last 10 years, if I was to say, try and tell the difference between any Rumble layout, it's very, very difficult. But I've got a feeling this year this might stand out. We might actually be able to remember this more just on the look, and sometimes that does add to the personality of a pay-per-view, just its layout. What do you think about it though, Matt? Because it should have a unique vibe, and it's also it's going to be a much larger audience than what is typical, sort of pay-per-view stuff around WrestleMania. This is quite a big, large crowd gathering here. They even had an access for the Royal Rumble as well. So what do you think about that first off, Matt, and obviously making this a little bit bigger, the crowd and the stadium in general?
Yeah, I hope they do make the most of the unique kind of stadium they have here, because like I said, it will actually stand out more. I mean, I hope they just don't make it, I hope they just don't not mention the actual uniqueness of it, just like and treat it like every other arena, because the walkway as well has got like a slight bend in it, so
yeah, that's
also going to make the entrances quite interesting as well.
Yeah.
When the actual clock counts down, so people will be coming down, and then they're going to have to turn a corner. It's going to be,
I guess,
more of a surprise for some people, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't quite tell who it is. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, that could be quite interesting, couldn't it? How they're gonna deal with that. But I am kind of looking forward to, just like you say, like Matt said, I hope they do make the most of it and they don't just try and sort of black out everything and try and make it sort of bog standard. Because I know that half of the sort of stadium is going to be open, but I think you should just kind of leave it like that. I mean, it just adds to something new and something fresh sometimes, and yeah, hopefully they make the most of it. But I think it's a promising event, to say the least. And in fact, only when I wrote down all the card today in its full match list, I actually thought to myself, it's not, I mean, realistically, it's quite a solid card. On paper, at least. Let's put it that way, Matt. It looks like a good card. Before we get into the Royal Rumble preview, Matt, of course, just want to mention to all our listeners, we will be doing a full review of the Royal Rumble, which will take place either Monday or Tuesday of next week. It'll be one of those days. Not sure which day it'll be, because we may wait till Raw, because I'm sure it always catches me off guard when I do a Royal Rumble review, because we always miss something greatly out the next night on Raw. So we'll be doing a review nonetheless, but not sure if it'll be Monday or Tuesday yet. Of course, Matt, coming tonight, I'm sure everybody's quite excited for as well, is NXT TakeOver. That looks like a decent card as well, Matt. Anything particular that stands out for you tonight that you'd be sort of interested in?
Well, they always have a reputation for outdoing the main pay-per-view, so I'm sure that all the matches are going to be quality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite interested to see how Bianca Belair does.
Yeah.
Because she's been on a tremendous streak, and something's got to give one way or the other, because so is Shayna Baszler. So I'll be interested to see who NXT has selected to be their top dog,
Mm-hmm.
Because if Shayna Baszler loses, then you've got to assume that call-up is pretty imminent.
Yes, no, I agree. And for me, there's a few matches I'm looking forward to. I mean, nothing. I just like the whole NXT Takeover show, really, in general. I always sort of, the matches I think that I don't kind of care for, I always end up thinking, blimey, that was really good, and I'm glad I kind of sat through and watched the whole thing. So, hopefully, it'll be a consistent show. I do feel like NXT TakeOver is back where it needs to be now in terms of a decent roster size and everything else. So should be an interesting show tonight, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners will be tuning into that as well. And of course, they've had a lot of stars over from the UK as well. They've been basically taping for World Collide, which is going to be on the network. I think that comes on the 2nd of February. That'll be airing. Not sure how they're going to, if it's just like its own little event, just exclusive to the network, more likely. But that'll be interesting. But definitely some talent around, Matt. Let's put it that way. That they could definitely pluck here and there. So I think we should definitely be mentioning that. And also, what about this bit of news, Matt? Last couple of days was a lot of rumours floating around, but now it seems really official that two ex-TNA wrestlers, Matt, Impact Wrestling, very interesting, Sanjay Dutt and also Abyss, apparently have moved into WWE, have been offered some decent contracts for NXT. Not sure what kind of role that's going to be, but fascinating one, Matt. What did you think to that?
It's two good signings. I mean, people were saying that Abyss was one of the big names that hadn't been signed, and I mean, I'm not too sure what they will do with him. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to just come in as a monster again, but it's difficult because I think comparing him to Sanjay Dutt, Sanjay has a more broader skill set.
Yeah.
He's down at TNA doing commentary. He's also obviously excellent in the ring, so he's got a lot to give back to the company as a whole. Because if he wants to train people, that's fine. If he wants to be on the announcing team, then that's also fine. So they've got the variety with him at least.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I think they've got options if they even want to play into his character on NXT. I think there is room, and if you think about it, he's not going to be looking too much ahead, I don't think, for himself. So I think he'd be somebody a bit like when Rhino went there, a guy who's been around on the circuit for a long, long time. And of course, the good thing with Abyss is he's a big attraction. He's a big draw still. So he could definitely get over a lot of guys down there. And you could see him working in quite a few programs. So we'll wait and see with that. But interesting news. What we're going to do here, Matt, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to take some questions now because I've had some real outstanding questions, and then we're basically going to dive into the Royal Rumble and then take questions at the end as well. So let's get started with some questions now then. And some of these relate to the past few weeks. So first question from Russell Smythe. What's happened to Lars Sullivan? Heard he was scheduled a couple of weeks ago to have a dark matches, but he didn't show up. Meltzer reported that Sullivan would have been having a huge push up against John Cena at WrestleMania. Any clue to what's going on? So, Matt, I think from what I've been reading, there's been some mental health issues going around with Lars Sullivan. I mean, obviously, there was a lot of stuff coming out even before that about Lars Sullivan. I think that we definitely picked up on that was getting sort of released here, there and everywhere about his social media accounts. But I think from what I'm hearing, Matt, the basic bottom line at the minute, at least, what most people are reporting is that Lars Sullivan won't be, he's not going to be in when he was going to be, and I think plans probably have changed there. And from what I gather, apparently he was going to get a gigantic push. So it's a little bit of a shame for the guy, but these things can't be helped, and I hope the guy gets better. Have you heard anything different from that your end, Matt?
No. I mean, I think it is a difficult situation. I think, as regarding Lars, you can never take mental health lightly. You have to tread very carefully.
Yeah.
So I think if you need some time, then fair enough. I mean, he's still a young guy, and he hasn't made his debut. It's not like people. I know like management may be a bit cross that they couldn't get the plans off the ground straight away, but it's not like something was started and then stopped before it even got rolling, because at least they can still hold back on him and bring him into a fresh kind of storyline as well. Yeah,
no, I totally agree. So, that's the most we know on him. Interesting name now, Zippy. Great show, this, boys. I want more. Well, cheers, Zippy. We'll do our best. A couple of questions. Why did Vince McMahon keep referring to guys the other week to Finn as beef? ? And also, do you think there's any truth that Joey Styles could work for AEW? So first part of it, I chuckled when I heard that comment, and it, to me, the only thing I could think, Matt, was that Vince is clearly out of a different generation here to keep referring them as beef in the ring. Look at all this beef. Don't know where he was going with that, but I mean, again, is that Vince McMahon himself? Probably. I think it's more Vince than the character. I think when you see him out there at the moment, and I just think that's the sort of typical word he probably used, Matt. I mean, I'm sure nobody scripted that for him. Let's put it that way.
It sounds like one of his kind of quotes that he would use backstage. So, but beef is a strange one. But then a lot of people refer to it as meat, so he's just gone one step ahead.
It was. It made me chuckle, that. And also, with regards to Joey Styles, I have no idea about Joey Styles working for AEW. Only if they were interested in him, then he's a decent announce guy, that's for sure. He's well known, and he's very credible. So he'd be a good signing if they could get him. But I have not heard really about too many of the announce guys at the moment for that promotion. What about you, Matt? Have you heard anything for Joey Styles? I've not heard about him in general for a while. So
yeah, I'm with you on that one. I haven't really heard that much about him or what he may be up to. So but if he is involved, then that's a good thing, because he definitely has a fan base there, and he was good at his job. So it'd be good to see him make a return.
Also, want to say he was very instrumental in the WWE.com at one time. He was like the head guy on that, so he would be kind of not just a good announcer to have, but a guy to probably set things up. And no matter who you are, you've got to be. I mean, we already know Cody and the rest are very good with social media, but you've got to then have everything else with it. So it would make sense to get someone like that. DX1 now, regular listener. I really liked Raw. The Go Home show. However, what bothered me is the fact that what does bother me is they only have to go to the ring sometimes to earn a title shot the week before. If that's the case, why don't the entire roster just go out and claim a stake? I remember that happening a couple of weeks ago on Raw, and the thing is with wrestling, Matt, I mean, it's one of those things you've got to suspend your disbelief, and I know what he's getting at. Anyone was just coming out, staking a claim for it, and then, that's it. You get a match made out of it and number one contender. But I will say one thing. I do wish WWE would come up with something a bit different now and then. Like, that formula has been going on for a long, long time where guys do that, and it does always bother me. Like, how are they the only guys that are standing by the curtain that are going to get in, and the music gets played nicely on cue, and those guys are always going to be in with a shout? Or is it going to be a little bit more authentic? And I don't know, just try something else, a different way, come up with something new. What about for you, Matt? Is there something you've noticed, or do you not notice it now because we're so programmed in a way?